experience obviously always makes such a massive difference. And one team actually who we were kind of surprised it didn't qualify through in our qualifier 1 and 2 here, cold and centered as well. SPG, you even picked these guys a couple of times in predictions. It didn't happen, but here's hoping it happens potentially this weekend. What can they do? How can they change things up and get through to finals?
So if they have the cavern all to themselves, they're going to be really strong on their loot. And that was their problem in the first and second qualifier. First qualifier, they narrowly missed. Second qualifier, their early game didn't allow them to progress. I feel like they were kind of stalling out and not really getting into that strong position. So going covert instead of sleepy, that should be a really good play for them, Sundown.
And I mean, we saw in EU too, two teams who were able to run it out of covert, and when they were able to win off the drop, Thomas and Tayson as well as Vino and Joe, they just clean ran through the lobby, and yes, they had to make the individual plays, but Sentinel and Cold are more than capable of that. So the question becomes the rest of the lobby, do you just let them have it early and hope they win out so they're out of the pool immediately, or do you go and challenge them every single time, knowing that ever since kind of that unfortunate game 3 in the first qualifier, they've been on a little bit of a downward trend. They've been struggling a bit.
Yeah, they have. I mean, it's a really interesting point you make about EU as well. We saw obviously Thomas and Tayson going through there in that particular POI when it was contested. Once they've qualified through, then Vino's duo immediately afterwards qualifies as well when the POI is there for Tayson and Thomas are nowhere to be seen anymore because they've already qualified. So that's going to happen throughout the course of the competition as well. Teams will qualify and suddenly things really open up for some of our duos. One duo we're all looking forward to seeing compete today as well is Clix and Day. They're synonymous with Fortnite. We all know them so well. But SPG not gone through just yet. The Jones is looking like where they're going to be dropping. How can they make sure and solidify their place in the finals?
So watching them play is like a bowl in a china shop. They just run through the lobby and knock things out of the way. And it seems like sometimes when they try and play a more traditional style, it's less effective. Just letting them go out there and run through people, go crazy, that seems to be the most effective way that I've seen them play, because otherwise it makes no sense.
And don't forget, Adam, it's NRG Day and NRG Clix, both, well, Day recently signing and then Clix re-signing through, announcing that recently, so got a little bit of the duo synergy going through. I'm sure they're going to be happy with that, but we've yet to see them put it all together. And I think one of the biggest things on the flip side, yes, normally we want to see them kind of push through, try and go get those eliminations, but in a state where victory rounds are almost more important and they're not necessarily known for their consistency, I'd rather see them kind of put the pedal to the metal and really try and win one of these games, though.
Yeah, me too. And plus, it's great for us watching at home as well, and for us here on the desk.
Content, baby.
Yeah, it's content, baby. That's exactly right. But I think you're right. I think they're a bit of wind in their sails. Obviously, the NRG announcement as well. Hopefully, that'll give you that mixed with the experience. We should see them go through. We think. We hope. Who knows what could happen? Let's take a look at some of the off-spawn fights in particular here as well. Let's take a look at Macwood and Nico. This kind of head-to-head here, which is looking very exciting indeed. SPG, why is Daily Bugle a great POI to look at? I mean, obviously we know it's synonymous with the likes of the web shooters and such, but it's a big POI, and these guys going head-to-head.
Yeah, so if you ask either party, Nico's team or Macwood's team, they've won off spawn every single time. The other team hasn't. But, you know, it's a little closer than that. And it seems like recently Nico's team has had the edge on those off spawn battles, but they don't always fight off spawn. Sometimes they go ahead and try and take what loot they can get. And when that happens, honestly, neither team is really getting good enough loot. Bugle is a big POI, but it's not big enough to support two teams, in my opinion.
Bugle is such a catch-22 because you never want to give somebody uncontested, because alone it becomes such a power point. But the fights there off of spawn are just, at least me personally, and even watching some of the VODs, they are brutal. There's so much that goes into it, the different angles you can reposition, trying to be aware of when somebody can sneak up on you. Even just the drop pass off of the bus are different compared to everywhere else on the map, because you have to be just low enough to clear that mountain, but just high enough to hit some of the 50-50 spawns. It makes everything just a little bit more difficult. It's like, how many times do you want to risk trying to go there, but then the one time you get it for free, it's just so worth it.
Oh, couldn't agree more as well. Plus, you know, with the webs everywhere, you can get around the POI very quickly and very easily and efficiently as well. So that's going to be a good one. Obviously, another off-spawn that we have to take a look at as well, Agents versus Smite. This is going to be really exciting as well. We know these players, again, so well here. Greasy Grove, that's going to be an interesting one to watch out for.
Yeah, this has been Sprite and Nounsy versus Agers and Rise. This happened all qualifier 2. That was essentially just those 50-50s off spawn. Literally just land somewhere and then start fighting. And that was the entirety of it. Now, allegedly, Sprite is deciding I'm going to go somewhere else, but you never know. He doesn't seem like one of those players that is going to walk away from those off-spawn fights. So even if he's saying he may go elsewhere Sundown, I think Reese is going to be conned.
And Sprite's somebody who has one of the most historic clutch plays. We talked about the clutch potential in duos being a little bit easier. Well, he had no problem doing it in trios as well. I just don't think when you do have so many limited matches, yes, it is a 5-game series rather than a 6, it's slightly shorter than what these guys are used to playing in the set lobbies. You don't want to even throw maybe 1 or 2 games away, knowing that Agers and Rise are pretty solid off a drop. I would put them in the above average, if not a little bit higher than that, in terms of their ability to fight in those situations, and I don't think rolling the dice is worth it when you have 1 less game.
Totally. It's all about the mind games, man. All about the mind games. I love it. We would love to see it as well, because it makes things more, you know, obviously more exhilarating for us watching. Talking of the map and POIs and such, we've mentioned a few of them there. Let's take a closer look here at the map specifically, and some real places to highlight, and what's so exciting about it for our players as well. Check this out.
I think Bugle is probably the best spot on the map right now.
There is like a lot of chests, a lot of ammo, a lot of everything.
Tilted towers, there's just so much floor loot and ammo boxes and pepper boxes, so you just always come out really stacked. And then CB Sound just has a lot of pepper boxes and a lot of floor loot, so you always come out with a lot of launch pads.
I really enjoyed Tilted coming back. It was very fun to land there again.
I actually land Tilted. That's my job spot. Duos.
Tilted is like one of my favorite spots in the game, like forever.
It's going to be very good and competitive. A lot of players are going to have it uncontested.
And it's all modernized and changed into this current, like, into the current way the game's played, and it's really cool.
That nostalgia, I'd say.
I cannot be more happy.
So I think people are making a mistake by not landing Sanctuary, because that Mythic AR there is definitely the best AR in the game.
You can capitalize and get Sanctuary to yourself and maybe even get that Mythic AR in a Grand Finals. I just know how good it is.
Camp Cuddle is a really underrated spot.
I think Vigo's definitely the most slept on POI. I didn't even think of it in my top 3. Probably is honestly a top 3. Is a crazy POI.
Best method to rotate on the map is definitely using Spider-Man's.
I would definitely say Spider-Man's 100%.
It can get you across the map in probably a couple minutes. Nothing can do that right now.
The map awareness is definitely like really important, because like if you don't know where you are or where you're going or like where it could pull, like you're gonna just be in a pretty bad situation for like the next zone pull.
So you really got to be aware and understand the map.
A good map habit would be always to mark where the zone goes and what side you want to be on.
Oh, you need to always 100% be aware of where the zone is.
Marking it is a huge thing, and I think that like that alone has saved me so many times, because I can just see where the zones is and I'm not guessing.
Because if a zone pulls far and you're in a really bad spot, it could end your game.
Yeah, I would say the best tip to find a drop spot for your playstyle is really find where your strengths are in fighting.
Look for something.
C'est qui lui? Si mono, il est mono, sourcil ou quoi? Non.
Non.
Je sais pas. Non.
Vas-y,
Oh merci.
arrête de
Et
bouger.
non. C'est trop sympa.
Tu arrêtes de bouger, tu bouges plus et là.
Attends, tiens, regarde, tu mérites ça. Tiens, tu mérites ça. Ok.
Attends,
Bon, bah,
je vais faire- Attends, ouais, attends. Tu peux me laisser
Faut
passer.
croire qu'il aime bien les lampes. Hein.
Comme Nico.
Aussi con que Nico est pas aussi méchant.
Oui, bah ça c'est sûr.
Sacha, tu peux passer un poisson, j'ai plus d'armes. Il m'a tué, il a pris l'arme.
Quoi, mais tu
Il l'avait.
t'es un
Tiens, il
menteur, tu
avait.
me l'as donné?
Qu'est-ce qu'il raconte? Il m'a tué, il m'a
Tu
pris
me l'as
mon
donné
arme.
quand je t'ai donné
Ah, mais
la
regarde,
lampe.
il me menace. Regarde, il me menace.
Ne lui tire pas dessus. T'as des slurps?
Moi, non, mais il m'a tué, il les a tous pris.
Prends-lui un slurp.
Prends le slurp.
Non.
Nuit. Jour. Nuit.
Il en a.
Jour. Nuit.
Gars, il en a.
Nuit.
Remets slurp. Regarde, je te parie, il en a slurp. Ah, merci.
Moi aussi j'en ai un.
Mais tu sais que tout le monde sait que là t'as. Parce que là tu mens.
J'ai
Parce que
aucun
t'as une
slurp.
arme.
Regardez, j'ai une arme.
Oui,
J'ai
attends.
J'ai une torche, après je peux plus, j'ai rien.
Je t'ai
Que
donné,
ça.
Tiens, viens.
je t'ai donné Mascar et
On
ma
a
lampe.
3 slurps. Tes slurps.
Une bébête.
C'est pas ouf comme cachette.
On
C'est
va
moi
me
qui ai
tuer.
créé.
On va me tuer.
Un Nîmes. C'est le bug des textures. Assez gênant d'ailleurs.
Ouais, je sais,
Sacha,
c'est dans ce
Sacha. Et les gars, il y a Psy Mono Sourcil dans le groupe.
Oui, on sait.
T'es dans Sicone.
Oui, je sais.
Mais ouvrez-moi s'il vous plaît, je veux
Mais c'est qu'on
vous.
peut plus rouvrir, c'est un peu ça le problème.
Mais
C'est
y a pas
compliqué
de-
la fermer.
un poisson s'il te plaît. Sacha, un poisson. Oh my god. Un poisson.
Désolée,
Y a
mais
rien à
ça,
l'intérieur.
je suis pas gentille. Si,
Oh une vache.
tu me dis que c'est rien.
Il y aurait pas.
Mignon.
C'est quoi ces boutons?
Non. C'était. Ouais.